In the heart of an expansive forest that stretched beyond the horizon, nestled a small village called Moji. The name, meaning water in Swahili, was given for the river that shaped its life, a gleaming ribbon of vitality snaking past green palm groves and yam fields, whispering ancient stories as it meandered through the land. The villagers of Moji lived with the rhythms of nature, harvesting from the soil, fishing its streams, and gathering around firelight in the evenings to share tales handed down through generations. Children played alongside cows, chickens, and goats, their laughter blending with the chorus of cicadas and. Among these children were 4 inseparable friends: Ao, a merry boy with bright eyes and an infectious grin; Abina, sharp-witted and brave; Kofi, quietly thoughtful with a penchant for storytelling; and Nia, kind and curious, always eager to explore beyond the village's boundaries. One evening, as the sun dipped low behind the baobab trees, the village elder, Grandfather Tando, gathered the children around the communal fire. His voice, weathered yet strong, wove a tale that sparkled with mystery. "Children," he began, "you know the river that runs through our land. You have all drunk from it, played in its shallows, and felt its cool embrace in summer. But do you know its secret?" The children leaned in eagerly, eyes wide. "Long ago," Grandfather Tando said slowly, "there was a hidden part of the river, a place where the water shines like glass and reflects the stars even in daylight. It is a sacred place, and they say whoever finds it may ask the river a single wish. But be warned, for every wish carries a price." Whispers swept the circle. Ao's heart beat faster. "How does one find it, Grandfather?" he asked. "One must follow the river's song and trust the signs it gives." The elder smiled. That night, as the stars blinked softly overhead and the village drifted to sleep, the secret of the river nestled in the children's minds like a spark waiting to ignite. Within days, the 4 friends had planned their adventure. At first light, they quietly slipped away from Moji, backpacks filled with dried maize, sweet potatoes, and a small calabash of water. Ao carried a sturdy walking stick carved with protective symbols, a gift from his grandfather. Abina brought her sharp dagger, more for safety than harm. Kofi had the old map his father had drawn, and Nia carried a small journal and charcoal stick to record their discoveries. The forest greeted them with dappled sunlight, the air alive with the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. Birds flitted overhead, and the distant hum of insects filled the spaces between their footsteps. By midday, the river appeared, a silver thread flowing steadily through the green. The children cheerfully waded through shallow pools, refreshing themselves and feasting on wild berries under the shade of mango trees. As they ventured deeper, the banks grew steeper and the forest thicker. The river's song became clearer, an elusive melody carried by the wind, mingling with rustling leaves and the occasional call of a hyena in the distance. "This way," whispered Abina, pointing to a narrow path veered away from the riverbank. The path, barely visible beneath tangled vines, seemed to beckon them, promising the secrets Grandfather Tando spoke of. The children exchanged glances, their breath deep with anticipation and a touch of nervousness. After several hours, the group reached a clearing, and there before them lay the legendary secret, a crystalline pool nestled within a gorge, the water so clear it mirrored the sky and trees perfectly. They stepped forward in awe. The air here was cooler, tinged with the fragrance of lotus flowers growing beside the pool. It was as if the river had whispered its secrets only to the lucky few who found this sacred sanctuary. Remembering Grandfather Tando's words, the children each prepared to make their wish, knowing that this act could change their lives forever. "Who will go first?" Kofi asked nervously, clutching the map. "I'll go," said Ao, his usual grin softening with seriousness. He knelt beside the pool, eyes closed, and whispered his wish under his breath before touching the water. "I wish my family's farm will always produce enough for us to eat and to help the village." The water shimmered, and a cool ripple spread through the pool. Next was Abina. She stepped forward, her gaze steady. "I wish for courage, so I can protect my younger siblings and face whatever dangers lie ahead." The surface of the water flickered like a flame. Kofi approached with his fingers trembling slightly. "I wish for wisdom, to share stories that bring peace and understanding among our people." The pool glowed faintly, reflecting the clouds above. Finally, it was Nia's turn. She hesitated, then took a deep breath. I wish for happiness, not just for me, but for everyone in Moji." For a moment, the water stilled. Then a gentle breeze stirred the lotus flowers, carrying their scent over the children. They smiled at one another, feeling a strange warmth spread inside them. Yet, deep down, in a place untouched by time, the river began weaving its own reply, a subtle warning that no gift comes without a cost. When the children returned home, the village seemed much the same. The palm trees still rustled, and the children still laughed in the dirt streets. But soon the changes began to reveal themselves. Ao's family's farm blossomed as if kissed by the heavens. The soil produced yams, maize, and okra in abundance, and the harvest more than fed their household. The villagers, grateful for this blessing, came seeking his family's wisdom on farming techniques. Ao, proud but humble, gladly shared what he knew. Abina found courage rising in her heart. When a band of thieves stumbled upon their village, it was she who stood firm, rallying the villagers to safety and alerting the elders. Her bravery earned her the respect of all, but it also brought her face to face with dangers greater than she had imagined. Kofi began to craft stories more powerful than before, tales that soothed quarrels, and songs that united families. Yet, his newfound wisdom made him distant at times, as if the weight of knowledge isolated him from childish mirth. Nia's wish, however, was less straightforward. For a time, the village felt lighter, smiles more frequent, and laughter more genuine. But hidden beneath the surface, tension stirred, as people's desires and hopes clashed in unexpected ways. What brought happiness to one sometimes brought envy to another. The four friends began to notice the subtle shift within themselves and their surroundings. Ao's family farm flourished, but at a cost. The abundance drew more villagers to seek help, placing a strain on his parents and their resources. Ao felt torn between pride and guilt for the expectations he unintentionally created. Abina's courage made her fearless, but the more she faced danger, the more she carried worry for her siblings' safety. In the quiet moments, she felt a weight on her chest, a silent loneliness born of responsibility beyond her years. Kofi's wisdom grew, but so did his sense of isolation. His stories taught peace, but he found himself struggling to relate to the carefree games of his childhood friends. Sometimes, he wondered if knowledge was truly a blessing or a curse. Nia saw her wish ripple through the village, happiness bloomed, but jealousy and misunderstandings followed. Old rivalries rekindled beneath polite smiles. Her heart ached at family dinners filled with unspoken tensions. Happiness, she learned, was a fragile and sometimes fleeting treasure point. One twilight, gathered beneath the very baobab where Grandfather Tando told his tale, the children shared their fears and frustrations. Perhaps wishes change things, whispered Nia, but they don't erase what's already inside us. Or what others bring, Kofi added, looking toward the horizon where the river wound like a silver thread. Their bond, however, strengthened as they faced these challenges together. They understood that they were part of something larger, a community, a river, a story that flowed through time. Determined to find balance, the children returned once more to the secret pool, hoping to learn from the river itself. As they sat beside the shimmering water, they heard the gentle murmur of the current, a language beyond words, urging patience, understanding, and harmony. The river whispered lessons. True worth is shared with open hands. Bravery is tempered by wisdom and kindness. Knowledge is a light to guide, not a wall to separate. Happiness grows in hearts that nurture forgiveness and gratitude. Understanding blossomed in their hearts. They returned to Moji with new resolve. Ao invited neighbors to help with the farm and shared the harvest equally. Abina taught others courage comes with care and empathy. Kofi invited friends to tell stories together, bridging gaps and healing wounds. Nia organized village celebrations that honored both joys and sorrows, reminding all that true happiness includes all feelings. The river's secret was not in granting wishes lightly, but in inspiring hearts to shape their own destinies with wisdom and love. Years passed, and Moji thrived not just through blessings from the river but from unity and understanding nurtured by its people. The children grew into leaders, Ao a respected farmer and community advisor, Abina a courageous protector of her village, Kofi, a revered storyteller spreading peace beyond their borders, and Nia, a beloved teacher of harmony and joy, and every so often, they would return to the secret pool, not to ask for wishes, but to listen to the river's song and to the whispers of their ancestors. Grandfather Tando, now very old, smiled with pride as he watched from afar. The river's secret, he said softly, is that the greatest magic lies within hearts ready to listen, to learn, and to love. Moji remained a place where water sang blessings, where people held fast to kindness and wisdom, and where the secret of the river lived on, flowing endlessly through time and tide.